Hello, everyone. This is Lynn Tackett.
That's Shawn.
Welcome to Tackett Entertainment, and this video is about Sony PlayStation, their possible crumbling empire. And this is not something I say with happiness, because I have a lot of dear friends who love Sony. They love the PlayStation. It brings them a lot of happiness. I'm mad at the company.
Yeah.
I'm mad at the company and like bad batteries. Let's get to bad batteries of the PS3 and 4 and the DualSense controller. Yeah. Now, let us just start off to say that these are people who have knowledge about stuff like this and who are experts on stuff like this, but this didn't come directly from Sony. It's from experts, and when they tried to get in contact, some people are finally doing videos on this stuff. They tried to contact Sony. Even IGN tried to contact Sony, and there was no response from Sony.
None. So what does that tell you, folks? It's probably true.
It doesn't look good, because if you don't say anything, it's basically telling people, well, we goofed up.
Yeah.
And IGN was talking about, like, in your PS3, you won't be able to get into your digital games anymore unless you, like, get a new battery.
And on the PS4, you won't even be able to play your physical games.
Yeah.
And I know... sorry.
No, go ahead.
I know I have been kind of hard on Sony, but really, you're going to have a doorstop. I've jokingly said that. You're going to basically have a doorstop. And the reason I'm so hard on Sony is company. They're getting away, and they're so anti-consumer, and the media is letting them get away with it.
I mean, whenever Nintendo does something anti-consumer, the media is right there, as they should be, and the fans are jumping all over Nintendo, as they should be.
Yeah.
Hold Sony to the same accountability.
Exactly.
If you're going to jump all over Nintendo, do it.
Yeah.
Hold Nintendo's feet to the fire.
Yeah.
But hold Sony to the same standard.
Exactly. Exactly.
The Joy-Con drift thing got most of the attention, while PlayStation 4 DualShock was drifting too. We don't know the percentages.
Yeah.
But the PlayStation 4 controller was drifting. Now the PlayStation 5 controller not only drifts, shoulder buttons break.
Yeah.
They're purposely made to break.
Yeah.
I'm glad that there's a lawsuit coming up.
Yeah. Exactly. They should be held accountable.
Another thing is, like, they're stifling innovation now. Like, Sony has even said that because they're focusing more on these big-budget blockbuster movie games, they're not taking as many risks before, like they did with Bloodborne, Gravity Rush, Dreams, Concrete Genie, Ape Escape, games like this that may not have sold the most, but had a very good cult following to them.
Well, they couldn't make stuff like that anyway. They closed down they said there should they closed it down. They closed down the main company that made Bloodborne and Ape Escape. Well, they closed it down.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
they did.
Yeah,
it just wasn't shuffling around. They closed that department down. They may have put the people in other areas, but the department they closed down.
That's terrible. And a company that was doing some work for Sony, who still works for them, but they wanted to do a Last of Us remake, which I don't know why you would want to do a remake of that game, because really it doesn't need one right now. They gave it back to Naughty Dog. This company, they don't know what they're going to do with them. And the company that made Days Gone, which sold 5 million copies.
Oh.
Well, they pitched a second one, and they have no comment on the issue, but a lot of people have said that Sony denied it because it got a 71 on Metacritic.
Yeah. And
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. And let's remember, folks, we all know The Last of Us, which is basically a lot of Sony YouTubers have been saying The Last of Us has already been remade. It's already been remade.
PS4.
PS4, yeah. It's like a lot of people are saying, it's the remake that nobody wants.
Yeah. Next one is censorship.
Yes.
Now there are people starting to call Sony out for censoring violence. I'm not the biggest, I'm not a blood and gut gamer, although I can play M-rated games. But the fact is, I do think developers and publishers should have the freedom to put what they want in their game.
Exactly. A prime example of that is Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive, I know it's the big booby volleyball game, and it's not for everyone. But you know, folks, Sony censored it. It's on the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo didn't censor it. So much for Nintendo being for kids. Sony was the one that censored it, not Nintendo.
Exactly. And also Devil May Cry 5.
It's still censored in Europe.
If anybody knows if that's changed or not, you can tell us. But I went to articles talking about this, and as late as 2019, early 2020, the game was still censored in parts of Europe.
Europe, yeah.
Yet you have the ponies, not the regular fans, but the ponies galloping to their defense.
Even the video game media, and well, let's face it, a lot of the video game media are ponies.
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah.
They're totally ignoring this, or they're overlooking it, or they're making excuses. That's why I jump onto Sony so much.
Yeah.
Is they get such a free pass. They can be so anti-consumer, which they are. They're the most anti-consumer video game company ever. They just are, and they get away with it. That's why people are like, you hate Sony, you hate Sony. The company, yes. I hate the way what they're doing. They shouldn't treat their fans like this.
Also, like someone talked about at Naughty Dog, the contract workers there, and people are like, well, that wasn't Sony. Actually, the buck stops with Sony. They own Naughty Dog.
Exactly.
Just like when Retro Studios was abusing employees back in 2000 to 2002 because of Metroid Prime, it was on Nintendo. So Nintendo went in there and whipped a bunch of butt and turned it around. But the fact is, shame on Retro Studios for letting that happen, and Nintendo for letting it happen. But at least they corrected the mistake.
Yeah.
But for Naughty Dog, contractors were barely making above minimum wage, working until morning.
Yeah.
A lot of people are leaving Sony's studios, like their Santa Monica studio, Naughty Dog. They're leaving them. And I wonder what's going on at the Santa Monica studio, because some of their big people have left as of late. That's not a good sign. It's one thing, like if somebody finished their work and they're like, you know what, I want to go on to another company or something. I was just a temporary position. But these were people that have been with these studios for 8, 10, 12 years. Something's going on.
Exactly. You know, and like I said, rightfully so, the video game media called out Activision and Electronic Arts, but like I said, Sony gets a free pass.
Yeah.
They're not calling Sony out on this. Why? I want to know why the video game media is letting Sony having such a free pass on just about everything.
And I know what some people are going to say, well, I've seen them cover it. They'll cover it once and stuff and then move on. When we talk about covering something, we talk about the way they did the blood in Mortal Kombat with Nintendo. Nintendo, 6-7 years after they started letting M-rated games fly on the Super Nintendo and 64, there was a lot of the media that still wouldn't let them live that down.
They still don't.
Yeah.
They still don't. There's a lot of video game medias who talk about that. They still don't.
Yeah. And it has a lot of fans out there brainwashed into thinking that Nintendo is still the one that censors games, when in fact now it's Sony.
It's Sony.
And now it's charging $70 for their first party, most of their first party games.
I don't ever want to hear the video game media, which they're complaining, Skyward Sword is full price. Mario 3D World is full price. So what? It's on a new system. The Wii U's done and gone. You can't play Wii U games on the Switch. You can't. So yeah, they're worth $60. You know what? The $70 games are the PlayStation 4 games. I mean, but for PlayStation 5, there's a lot of PlayStation 4 you pay $60 for.
Yeah.
You can play those games on the PS5. There's no excuse for $70. No, just for a minor graphical upgrade, there's no excuse.
No, there's not. Why are they doing this? Some people try to act like, well, the skyrocketing development costs and stuff. Well, then how come Capcom or Nintendo or some of these other companies are not charging $70?
Exactly. I want the video game media, if you're watching this, to tell me why you have to pay for Spider-Man Morales $50 to $60 on the PlayStation 4.
$50 on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, and $70 for the PS5 for a few minor graphical upgrades.
Yeah.
Explain to me, you jump all over for Nintendo doing this? Why not Sony? Why are you giving them a free pass?
Yeah, this is why we get mad. You know, it's like there are actually some games on the PlayStation that I do like. It's the company and it's the way the media treats them. That's what gets me so upset.
Sure, yeah.
Now they're not even focusing on Japan.
Nope.
Monster Hunter Rise is breaking records in Japan.
Yep.
It is going to end up selling 4 to 5 million units in Japan easily.
Yep.
And Capcom has got other big games now in the works for the Switch.
Yep.
And it's starting on a domino effect. There's rumors about Namco starting to amp up production on big games for the Switch, and Square Enix is going to be making more big games and stuff. And it's just like a lot of people bought the PlayStation brand because of their Japanese games, especially the Japanese RPGs. But Sony doesn't seem to care that much about Japan anymore.
No, they don't.
Ask Nintendo fans. Third parties don't live off of goodwill. They live off of game sales and stuff.
Yep, that's absolutely
true.
true.
They're loyal to their customers, but not a brand name.
Exactly.
If their customers go with Sony, that's where they're going to go. If their customers go to Nintendo, that's where they're going to go.
Or Microsoft.
Or Microsoft or PC, whatever.
Yeah.
Sony is taking the Japanese market for granted.
They are.
And it disgusts me because a lot of good people who like Sony are getting screwed because they don't get to get the games that they bought the PlayStation systems for.
Yeah. And no backwards compatibility. There's so much stuff that they're just messing up on. It's just, they come off like the 9th generation doesn't start until we say so. Like they own the video game and the media lets them do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's such bullcrap. The Switch is a 9th generation system, which it is. But yet, well, no matter what Sony does or no matter what they say, it's the video game media who I'm also calling out. I'm getting sick of them letting them have a free pass. Because why is it when a lot of people now are saying The Last of Us wasn't really that good of a game. Death Stranding really wasn't that good of a game. The video game media, 10, 10, 10, 10, 9, 9, 9, 9.
Yeah.
They get away with so much. Getting old and it's getting tiring. Sony needs to be held accountable and they're not. But the way things are going for them now, they may not even be in the video game arena at all if they're not careful.
The same thing happened to Sega. It was one snowball after another.
Yeah.
I know Nintendo makes mistakes, but they're smart with their money.
Right.
Sony lost a lot of money on the PS3. They lost money on the PS4.
Yeah.
And they're losing money on the PS5. Their games don't sell enough to make money like Zelda in them.
I know.
Zelda has made over $1 billion.
I know.
So has Smash, Animal Crossing, Mario Kart. If Nintendo lost about, I don't know, $1 billion off the Switch in hardware sales, they would recoup that and then some from the software sales.
Yeah.
Finally, their controllers and systems are breaking.
Yep.
Yes, we know the Joy-Cons and stuff, but the Joy-Con, our Joy-Cons have lasted for almost a year now.
Because we take care of them. We keep them covered up to keep the dust off of them. Learn something, people.
Because to be fair to the PlayStation 4 and the Switch controllers, if you kept them clean and took care of them, they lasted you pretty long.
Not so with the PS5 controller.
Yeah, the battery dies on a lot of the systems. Yeah. ACG, the reviewer, his PlayStation 5 broke on him out of the gate, and I know that happens with systems, but the fact is, a lot of people are complaining about it. A lot of people are selling their PS5s. They're getting tired of it breaking and Sony not doing anything to help out. This is very troubling because I feel bad for the fans. I do. Yeah. The little childish ponies, I don't care about you because you want to see nobody but Sony in the video game market, and that wouldn't be good either.
Yeah.
But, okay, go ahead.
I will also say, there are those of you, and don't get me wrong, saying that without Sony, the video game business would not go on. Ask Nintendo and Sega. There have been 2 video game companies before. There can only be 2 now. If Sony's not careful, they could just walk themselves right out, and the video game business would still survive. They don't need Sony. Sony needs them.
I agree, but I will say, though, it is better to have more competition, and Sony is good for business. But if they don't watch it, nobody is bulletproof. Not Nintendo. No, not Microsoft. Not Sony.
I'm just saying, like the Sega, Saturn, and stuff.
Yeah.
They went out of business. Did the video game business suffer? No, they did not. They're not going to lose if Sony leaves.
No, I agree, but I would feel bad for the fans who.
I would too. My point is that the video game media thinks that if Sony, Sony's not going to die. That's not up to you. I mean, if it does, the video game market will continue and it will still thrive because of the Switch. It's making doggone sure of that. And the Xbox, I'm just saying, people will move on. They will move on. So Sony had better be careful. They better stop ignoring and like they're impervious. They better start straightening their act up, or they may be joining the Sega Saturn and Dreamcast very soon.
I agree with you wholeheartly. It's just, I guess I would feel bad for the fans.
I would too. But they would move on. The Sega Saturn and Dreamcast fans moved on. Loyalty only goes so far.
Yeah. Yeah, Nintendo had to find that out. Look what happened with the Wii U.
Yep.
Nintendo did a terrible job with the marketing. They did a terrible job with the E3 presentation, and the Wii U did not sell.
They thought all the Wii owners were going to buy Wii U's. They didn't. Yeah. But I don't think all the PlayStation owners are going to buy a PS5. That's why with this battery thing, you're thinking, well, they'll have to buy a PS5 when their PS4 dies. Not necessarily true.
Yeah, and if Sony were to go under, the video game media would be to blame.
Yeah.
You didn't do enough to hold them accountable.
Exactly.
For them to go, whoa.
Yeah.
Because they didn't support the Vita. which should have been a big sign for people that trouble was coming, because the Vita was actually a very good system. I actually liked it better than the PS4.
They canceled the PSP, which sold 80 million. 80 million units. Well, they canceled it.
They're portable.
Yeah, they canceled it, though.
Yeah.
It sold 80 million units, and they canceled it.
That's why they quit supporting the Vita.
Yeah.
You know, just because they couldn't beat the DS. And I'm like, are you kidding me, Sony? Like, the PlayStation Vita and stuff would have been a good alternative to the 3DS.
Yeah.
But no.
The PlayStation Mini, instead of fixing it and making it good and playable, they brought it out. It was a mess. Then they dumped it, and they're not even going to make a PS2 portable or nothing. They just dumped it. They quit.
These have been signs that Sony has been doing a lot of bad things.
Exactly.
But the video game media don't hold their feet enough to the fire.
They don't, because this is your average. I'm not going to name names, but there's your average video game. Sony did this wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love my PS5. I love everything Sony does. But, stop sucking up to them.
Yeah, stop apologizing.
Apologizing.
Just like I don't want Nintendo fans to apologize if Nintendo screws up.
Yeah.
Call them out.
Yeah.
If Sony screws up, don't apologize. Call them out.
Yeah.
If you're a real fan of Sony, you will let them know that this is not acceptable anymore.
Exactly.
Well, that's me, Lynn Tackett.
This is Shawn Tackett.
Have a good day. And now we're going to do our sales pitch. This is me, Lynn Tackett.
This is Shawn.
And we would like for you to hit that subscribe button. I noticed that over 70% of the people who watch us aren't subscribed. Hey, what are you waiting for? It's free. Just hit that red subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you'll know when we're going to post another video. Please thumbs it up and comment if you like. And please join our Patreon. Patreon helps us get more money so we can do better videos with better equipment. And that's always better, So we have social media that you can join. The links are in the description below. So thank you, everyone. Keep supporting Tackett Entertainment.
And really quick, just before, if you do join our Patreon, you'll get little extra bonuses, like you'll get early access to episodes of Mr. Monkey, Mr. Hopper.
And who wouldn't want to miss that?
Yeah, I know. Bye, everybody.